So I guess I'm a noob rider, considering I just spewed gasoline all over my tank, which sucks. Like, it's not even that gasoline is hard to clean up because it dries so quickly and it's easy to clean up. It's that it makes you smell like gas all day. And I don't really want to smell like gas all day. But now I smell like gas all day. I'm only letting her go, not you. Ooh, careful, bro. Nighthawk, good bikes. That's one thing I'll say about Honda. If you buy one, it'll probably last you a good while. So on today's vlog, I'm gonna kind of weigh in on what's been a really popular argument lately. And I guess it probably isn't just lately. It's probably been going on for a while. But today I'm gonna talk about the liter bike versus 600, whether, you know, a liter bike's practical or is even worth having a liter bike. And so to kind of start off on my history a little bit, I went from a 150cc when I was 14. I rode that for about 2 years. When I turned 16, I got a 1992 Yamaha Sega 2, which is a 600cc. And I drove that for 3 years until I was about 19 years old. And then when I turned 20, right around the time I turned 20, I bought the bike I'm on now, which is a 2013 Yamaha FZ1, which is a liter bike. Granted, it's not a super sport. This thing is a sport tourer. I don't know. I've never seen what this is really qualified as. But it's got the 2005 R1 engine. So it's a quick bike. It's just not a sports bike. I've never owned a super sport, like a Gixxer or R6, R1, any of those. So maybe my opinion doesn't matter as much. But this is coming from somebody who does mostly sport touring and commuting. And who's somebody I've never desired a super sport because, you know, I'm a commuter. And I don't have any reason to ride a super sport. I like to go fast, but I don't do it often. But kind of my take on it is, you know, get whatever you feel comfortable with. There's like a bunch of pros and cons that every website and blogger has, you know, talked about. Like, you know, 600cc, you never need all the power a liter will get you. And I completely agree with that. I mean, I will never use the whole power of this liter bike. But I like my liter bike. I like the way the gearing is. I like the higher gearing, and I think it's better for a commuter to have a liter bike because it's just, I think it's more comfortable and it's less like strenuous on the bike to do highway speeds for long distances of time. So I like my FZ1. I like this bike a lot. And from the opinion of a commuter, I think that there's a lot to be offered in a liter bike. Now, if you are just a commuter or a sport tourer, most of you won't own a super sport. So the super sport argument for a liter doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But for somebody who like me, who might want to put 50 pounds of gear on the back and drive long distances, a liter bike makes sense. It's why the FJR 1300, the Yamaha, the sport tourer Yamaha makes, like the top of the line sport tourer, it's why it, you know, is a 1300cc. And I've ridden one of those. My dad owned one and I loved it. It was just too tall for me. I'm a short guy and I just couldn't really sit on it too well. But, you know, it had the power that bike needed and it was so comfortable. So I guess my thoughts on the whole liter bike and 600cc is get whatever bike that you can afford and that you think you can be comfortable on. You know, I don't see much of a difference in owning an R6 and an R1 for the track days unless you are at the point where the R6 is holding you back your potential. If you're that good of a rider in the R6 or a Gixxer 600 or anything like that is holding back your potential for lap times or just your ability in general, then yeah, going to a liter might be in your best interest. I wonder if this guy in the AMG worries me. So I guess moral of the story is, if you're a commuter and you want a commuter bike, the liter bike versus 600cc doesn't really apply to the. It doesn't really engage. Oh my god! It doesn't really engage in the argument of, you know, liter bike versus 600. If you're on a super sport and you're going to the tracks and you need a bike that you can have a bunch of hoodlum fun on, then yeah, it matters a little more. And if I was going to weigh in on that one, get a leader bike if you want a leader bike, get a 600 if you want a 600, and don't really give a shit what other people think about what you bought. Like, they didn't invest in your bike. You did. You invested in your bike. Don't, if you're one of those people that denounces like leader bike riders and say, oh no, it's fucking useless, you don't need that. Why don't you mind your own damn business? Like, yeah, if the guy is riding a leader bike, obviously he knows the hazards. Like, he has come to terms with it and he's invested in it. Cool kid. Let's just, as motorcycle riders, let's not give a shit what motorcycle you ride. Let's instead just bash people in cars. Can we just do that? Can we just bash car drivers instead, like we used to back in the day? If you guys want somebody to bash, can we all just bash people who drive? Oh my god. Look at that body. Can't we just all get together and bash Honda Civic drivers with their stanced-ass vehicles? Like, that's my take on the leader bike 600cc argument. Do with it what you will. And, this will just be the first of many of my motorcycle perspective vlogs. So, you guys have a great day. Right on.